Every time I hear the applause, I can't help but smile. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? Oh my God. I mean, I feel like I've been saying this every episode, but I'm still processing everything that's going on. I'm shocked. I'm still shocked. I'm still going, wow, this is happening. You have to understand, like, this is almost 20 years, right? Where, you know, I've been remembering all of this. And now for the world to be validating it all, but also not just what happened to me, but so many other people, so many other children. And now we have so many Nickelodeon stars that weren't even a part of, Dan Schneider's shows, speaking up and talking about their experience. And it's so important because, Nickelodeon is to blame, right? Like they are. And this is the institution. This is the corporation that was greenlighting all of this behavior and allowing this to happen. And now we're hearing from other Nick stars what their experiences were. And, it's just a lot. This is like, it's happening. Like the conversation has begun. Like it has begun. And now the whole world is weighing in. And, they definitely thrived off of the world not knowing. Actually, not only thrived, but also made a bunch of money, right? While the world didn't know what was happening. And so this is just, I'm still processing. So I just want to say hello to everyone. How is everyone doing? What day is it? Oh my God, it's Tuesday, March 26th. By the way, my birthday is next week. And I've been so caught up in all of this, obviously, that I haven't even planned my birthday. So I really should start planning my birthday. I'm turning 32, everyone. 32 years old. And so I don't know, maybe I'll do a stream too for my for my birthday. But yeah, time is flying. Everything's happening so fast. So many things are happening. And so I do want to say thank you to every single person that's here. This has been a very long journey for me personally. And, you just being here really makes a difference. And liking this video, sharing it with a friend, turning on your notifications just is really helpful. I'm kind of like emotional about it all just because, before this was on the screens, I was on like in the streets, protesting originally every single Thursday in front of institutions that allegedly, were covering up. And then, later on, it ended up becoming this. And I'm still protesting once a month. I used to do it every Thursday, but I have 2 children. And so now it's once a month. And thank you to all the Patreon members out there because you support all of the protests and you are amazing. But it's just so wild to just think about where it all began, where there was literally only, 4 people at the first protest, and that's including myself and my husband, right? So like two other people. And just to think how it's grown, and I just would have never imagined it. And so for everyone out there, I got teased about that. Like, oh, your protests mean nothing and they're not going to change anything. And you only have a few people out there. Like even when it came to the Grammys, in the rain. I don't know if anyone's seen that protest, but we were in the pouring rain outside of the Grammys after the allegations against them. And there were a lot of people making fun of, that protest, and it was in the rain, right? And still people showed up. Those people are amazing. But to think, how far this has all gotten is magical. And I want to tell everyone out there that, your dream, your little dream of changing the world in just your corner is totally possible. And it might not be possible right away, but if you keep showing up, rain or shine, you can change the world in your little corner. And I hope that my kids see that and are inspired by that, because that's what I do it for. And so this has just been a very magical time. And I do want to thank everyone who has been here since the beginning, and also everyone who is here now and amplifying this very needed, this cause that really does matter. And it is very serious and has affected so many individuals, not only when it comes to Nickelodeon, but the music industry, all of the entertainment industry as a whole has been doing this for far too long and getting away with it. And, we heard about P. Diddy the other day, and I do want to say that, this should have happened decades ago, right? But who protected him? And this is, I started this going after, honestly, the people who are protecting people like P. Diddy, because they cannot thrive. They do not get access to, victims if they do not have a safe haven to do so. And so, this is just, thank you. Thank you. Oh, and I see Melanie. And also new members. I see new members here, and I see a super chat. Was there any positive about being on the set of Zoey 101? What was the positive of being on the set of Zoey 101? This. I'm kidding. Kind of, actually. What was the positive being on Zoey 101? I would say I got a lot of experience. Yes, I got to learn a lot of things. But I would say that the positive of working on Zoey 101 was what I did with the negative experiences I had working on Zoey 101. I turned those very negative experiences into hopefully something positive that makes a difference. So that's my answer. I can't really think of any positive experiences, to be quite honest with you, sadly. Other than, I really do not. But I do know that all of those negative experiences, I did turn them into something hopefully empowering. And yeah, so I would say that's my positive experience from Zoey 101 is honestly this, where I'm sitting today. And, now welcome to all the new members. And I do want to say, now there's there's over 2,000 people here in the live chat. Not too long ago, there was 50, 100 people. And I would sit down here, daily, doing just this. And I think what I've learned through all of this is if you keep showing up about the things that matter to you most, you will have an impact. And it's not on a timeline. There's no rush to it. But eventually, you showing up as a person for the things that you care about will make a difference. And you all are inspiring me. So that's really the through line, is I'm inspired by all of you showing up and supporting survivors everywhere. And this is what we do it for, right? This is what we're doing here. We are, I want to see a survivor movement. We had it with Me Too, obviously. I want to see it amplified. it's still happening within the industry, but also we're learning that children were affected. And that, I think, hasn't been discussed until now. And just to see this conversation beginning is out of this world, honestly. Like, it really is out of this world to see people actually now having the conversation around this. And so, thank you. And yes, Survivors United will never be divided. It's very true. Josh, in case you missed my super chat, Alexa, I wished you a happy early birthday. Your birthday is the 4th of April, right? Yes, it is. Josh, my birthday is April 4th. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to do. Yeah, I really got to start planning that. Alexa, do you have a Zoey 101 favorite episode? I do, actually. I kind of love the first episode. I don't know. Every time I see like a clip of it where we get introduced to Nicole. Wow, why am I feeling emotional? This is so lame. Sorry. I was like, what is going on? When we meet Nicole for the first time and she is so excited to meet Zoey. This is so lame. This is literally the lamest moment of my life, and it's live. And she, asked Zoey, like, do you want to hug? Let's hug. It reminds me of like literally how I was when I was younger. So lame. And so whenever I see, that first episode or I see a clip from that, that was really who I was. And I would say that's my favorite episode just because I do see who I was as a kid in that like short moment. And so, yeah, I feel so weird getting emotional about it. But that I would say that was my favorite episode just because that's really who I was. And that's who I was also to everybody on set, and just really wanted to make friends. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. When you're a kid, you're like, let's just be friends, and it wasn't really like that. Sadly, no one really wanted to return the hug. But I would say that was my favorite episode. Hollywood Girl by Drake Bell. Listen to the lyrics. Okay, I will. And pizza $2.99. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, this is okay. It's just been and also this like movement or this journey has had like a lot of ups and downs, right? Like a lot. And having to learn along the way. And, I learned so much. And not only just that, but then having to, deal with a restraining order and this and that. Like, this has been a long journey. And this is just really grateful. Really grateful. Blah. But very grateful. And so thank you all for just being here. It means a lot. It means a lot. Oh, God. Okay. I gotta shift gears because if I'm gonna be like this the whole time, I'm gonna need a Kleenex box, and I don't even have one nearby. So we're shifting gears. But thank you all so much for everything. And you mean a lot to me personally. I see Quiet like moving around the studio looking for a Kleenex. Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you. Well, this is actually tough. This is like 10 Kleenexes in one.
That's industrial fucking.
It's industrial.
It's industrial paper towel.
I need an industrial Kleenex. I need it because I'm feeling all the feelings, and you guys have no idea what this means to me. So Shout out to everyone here. Shout out to all the Patreon members as well. All the new members. I see someone, Antonio, welcome to the Munchies. You all are amazing. You know, I just want to say that this Friday is going to be the first, the first Friday where we have like a members only once again, and we're going to be watching the Open Secret together and also doing a deep dive of the individuals that were behind Open Secret, which isn't so good per se. And I've also heard that Open Secret, for example, pressured and was like rude to one of the survivors they were reaching out to come forward in their doc and like blamed that person. Which is, by the way, this is what happens a lot of the time when it comes to, you know, survivors are pressured to tell their stories. And I do want to remind everyone here, like, even if you haven't told your story yet to a close friend, I mean, that's okay. Like, you don't have to, you know what I mean? Like, a survivor needs to lead the way when it comes to how they want to share their story or who they want to tell it to. And I do not like when someone is rude to a survivor that they're trying to, I mean, essentially also make money off of, right? That's also like, not that Open Secret made that much money. Sadly, it only made $200 apparently. It's like, whoa, only $200. And that's also because no one was ready to hear, you know, that information, right? But also the truth of the matter is that we really shouldn't be pressuring any survivor to tell their story. We really shouldn't. And so Friday, for members only, dinner party and up, we'll be going through the Open Secret documentary, taking a deep, deep dive who's behind it, watching it together. And so I'm really looking forward to watching that with the community because I haven't watched it since, I don't know, like 2019. So let's support one another through it because it still is a very sad documentary and the stories should be amplified because this has been happening in Hollywood for far too long.
You said Friday?
Friday.
You're watching that? Okay.
Yeah, this Friday. Welcome to the Munchies. Jensen, welcome to the Munchies. So, you know, before I go into everything today, which we're literally going to watch this episode together, okay? I haven't watched it yet. We're going to watch it together. I'm going to comment on it, obviously, because I think it's important too. But before I get into all of that, I found out today that, you know, there's going to be a 5th episode of Quiet on Set. Has anyone heard about that? Oh, welcome to the dinner party. Thank you. But there's a new episode that's going to be airing. And so let's first read the article about it, and then I'm going to share my honest thoughts about it. Just because, you know, it is what it is, right? So let's look at this. I guess Variety released it. Yeah, you can show. All right, here we go. So it says, Quiet on Set sets 5th episode, Breaking the Silence, with new Drake Bell interview and more. A 5th bonus episode of Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, titled Breaking the Silence, will launch April 7th on ID and then stream on Max. Per ID, participants previously featured in Quiet on Set, including Drake Bell, all that cast members, Giovanni Samuels and Brian, is it Hearn? Does anyone know me with last names by now? I'm the worst.
Yeah, that looks like Hearns.
Okay, Hearns, yeah. Hearns' mother, Tracy Brown, as well as new voices, including former All That cast member Shane Lyons, will come together with Soul Dad O'Brien for an important discussion about the industry then and now. Episode 5 will be building off of the revelations explored in the first 4 episodes and include a conversation led by O'Brien on where the industry can go from here. According to the Warner Brothers Discovery-owned cable network, the first 4 episodes of Quiet on Set have been watched by 16 million viewers. I didn't even see this.
Eat Nickelodeon!
Oh my God, it's 16 million people. Wow. Sorry, I'm like, whoa, I haven't read this yet. 16 million. Across ID and Streamers Max and Discovery Plus since the premiere episode debuted on March 18th. Wow. Wow. The show, which aired its originally scheduled fourth and final episode on March 22nd, has reached the largest audience of an unscripted series since the launch of Max. The combined rebranded version of HBO Max and Discovery Plus in May per the streamer. With Breaking the Silence, we're digging deeper into the crucial conversations the docuseries ignited and exploring the lingering questions left in their wake to provide further insight from the brave voices who've spoken out previously and those who are coming forward again, said Jason Sarlanis, president of TNT. Blah, 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 blah. Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV is directed by Mary Robertson and Emma Schwartz and produced by Maxine Productions. And also Kate Taylor was a big part of that. Don't forget about Kate Taylor, everyone. Kate Taylor was the one who did, we can go full screen now. Kate Taylor was the one who did the initial expose about Dan Schneider that was on Business Insider. And actually, she was the reason how I got connected to, Emma and Mary from Maxine Productions. And, it was a collaboration, right, between what Kate Taylor has released with her sources and her incredible reporting, and obviously Maxine Productions. And what a beautiful blend that truly was when it came to, obviously, wow, 16 million people listen to us. That's wild. I can't even believe that right now. And I'm so grateful for that documentary, because that documentary really leveled everything up. It amplified everyone. It amplified, not only everyone's story, but also survivors everywhere when it comes to telling their stories. And it was honestly, I'm so grateful for it. I did find out about this today, alongside everyone else. And I saw, obviously we just read the people that were sitting down, and, I was not asked to sit down to have the conversation. And I do just want to say the most important thing when it comes to this documentary is protecting the future. So our individual stories, they do matter. And at the same time, what they're for, the reason why now people are amplifying all of our voices, is so that we can protect the future and protect all child stars in the future from ever having to experience anything even remotely close to what we experienced, right? And so I do want to start that with that, is that's the most important thing. Were my feelings hurt a little bit? Yes. Just because I would have liked to have been invited into the conversation, just because I've been talking about it for so long. And I thought it would have been nice to have everybody who was part of the documentary, invited. I'm not just saying me, I'm saying literally every single person who was a part of that documentary, who spent hours, reliving those experiences to tell the world. I think everyone deserved a seat at that table. And it was sad. It was sad. And though at the same time, this is awesome, right? It's awesome just because everyone's finally paying attention. And that is what I hope for when it comes to this documentary. I hope that we can mobilize people into caring about the future of child stars. And you know where I stand, right? I don't want any child stars in the world, to be quite honest with you. I think it should be illegal, personally. But since I can't control that, at the very least, they need to be protected. And there needs to be legislation put into place. There are so many things that I'm currently starting to put together to see that actual change happen. And so I'm so grateful for this documentary. And at the same time, that was a little bit sad because I think all of us should be included. Right? And, you know, we were there from the very beginning. And I just hope that, I really do hope, that Kate Taylor was there. I hope, Kate Taylor, for example, literally put all of this together in the beginning. And so I really do hope to see her there. I think it's wonderful that each person is, seated at that table, and I'm cheering them on. That's not what this is about. Like, I'm cheering them on. This conversation needs to happen, and they are so incredible for starting this conversation. And I actually take a bow to each person who's taking that seat. I just wish everyone was included, right? It's so much better when we're all together and everyone's included and supported. I just think it feels better for everyone. And so, that's my thoughts, honestly, about the 5th episode. And I think hopefully it's understandable. But yeah, so there is a 5th episode happening April 7th. I guess we'll all watch it together. Maybe I'll do a members only live stream. We can watch it together. I don't know. But April 7th, a little bit after my birthday. And so we will be watching, because obviously those. One more thing before we watch this freaking NEDS Declassified long podcast together is Nickelodeon directors Beth and Rich Correll apologized for supporting Brian Peck and Drake Bell abuse case. We can show my screen. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So it says, "We are saddened and appalled." What? By yourselves? I'm sorry, but that's what you're saddened and appalled by, right? So directors Beth and Rich Correll, whose letters defending Brian Peck in his court case against Drake Bell were made public in the recent Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV documentary, are apologizing. Kind of. We extend our deepest apologies to Drake Bell and his family. Again, they obviously did not watch, which is fine, the protest or multiple different videos where I talk directly at Rich and Beth. Please send an apology privately. I've said this when it came to Dan Schneider. An apology needs to be made to the person directly, to the person who you hurt. And then you can go public, right? Then you can go, I'm gonna say something publicly. Then you can do that. Like Britney Spears, for example, she apologized to me privately before she even did it publicly. And that means something. It feels so real when someone comes to you personally and not for a PR stunt or campaign, right? Where they're just genuinely, privately telling you they're sorry with no excuses. It means something. It's such a wonderful feeling to be apologized to, genuinely. And it could actually compete with years of therapy, honestly, right? So I don't like that he's doing this publicly off the bat, but let's continue. Deeply regret our decision many years ago to request leniency for someone who we later learned it wasn't, you didn't later learn shit, Rich. Okay? You literally knew what Brian was admitting to, by the way. So much so that it shows in your letters, including Beth, your wife, by the way. She had the nerve to literally mention Drake's name in the letter and told the judge that he's essentially fine. Remember that? But you don't want to admit that you did what you did, even after Brian Peck admitted to what he did. You knew enough. You knew enough. And you wrote the letter anyways. And why didn't you say all of this when the Us Weekly, people reached out to you? Remember that too? And you were more concerned in saying that you didn't rehire Brian Peck than making an apology then. And you also have more time to make this public apology than you did to make a private apology to Drake Bell and his family. But I don't like this lie here. This lie to me is very damaging just because you did know. You're like, who we later learned had committed. You knew. You were talking about it in the letter, guys. Whatever. Whatever. Continuing, and caused so much pain and trauma to Drake and others. If we had known the truth, you did. At the time of the letters were written, you did. We never would have written them. Lie. You did. You knew it and you wrote it anyways. The Correll said in an exclusive statement to Variety, but not an exclusive apology to Drake Bell. Right? Where's your exclusive apology to Drake Bell? An apology should only be an exclusive to the person that you hurt, not to Variety or media outlets. Okay? It should have been to Drake Bell. That's what an apology is for. Calling it an exclusive to a magazine is very upsetting, to say the least. So the Correll said in an exclusive statement to Variety, there was no words to express how awful we feel for being on the wrong side of a horrific situation and the trauma it caused you, Drake. We are devastated that we unwittingly supported the unsupportable. Their statement continues, our biggest priority, having worked on many sets throughout the years, was the safety of children. We would never knowingly put any child in danger. Really? We are saddened and appalled to hear all the in-depth details following the release of Quiet on Set. You didn't need to know details, by the way. Children must be protected and should always be in a safe environment. Yeah, away from Rich and Beth. Both at work and at home. Drake, you are in our hearts. Blah. We are part of your bravery, and we are proud of your bravery, and we hope that now you are able to heal. Again, we are so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. That apology, to me is just all of the puke emojis possible, right? It's just all blah. To even say that they didn't know and that if they knew, all of this, yeah. If they knew, you knew, Rich, you knew, Beth, right? You both knew, and you still wrote letters. You even defended him. You even said that he was a professional. You said so many things, also knowing, and you told the judge that Drake was fine. You little spy for Brian Peck. Reporting back to the judge in defense of the PDF file. What a bad look. And will be your legacy, to be quite honest with you. I just really wish that that apology was an exclusive to Drake Bell and it wasn't given to Variety. Because again, if you had time to write that letter, both of you have time to write a handwritten letter to Drake Bell first, apologizing to him with no excuses. Don't say if you knew, if you didn't know, because we all know you knew. It shows in your letters, and that's that. Over it. I'm over that shit, honestly. I'm over it. It's like, just take full accountability and also don't give an exclusive. Apologies being exclusives now? My God, Hollywood. Hollywood is so shit that now apologies are exclusives. That's where we are. And that's unbelievable to me. Imagine going to a publication to make an apology to a kid where you defended the PDF file who harmed them. Going to a publication to give an exclusive apology. Woo! Sounds like Rich and Beth. Have they really grown? I don't know. So, those are the updates when it comes to what's going on. I saw that the, Ali D'Amico story has finally gotten some boost when it comes to Hollywood Reporter. And I just want to give a shout out to her. You know, all these individuals coming forward on TikTok, you know, let's boost all of their stories. This is really important and impactful to change the world. And let me just look really quickly before we go into this. Oh my God, I can't believe we're going into, and this is a great segue, by the way, from Rich Correll saying, if we knew, you know, we're going to go into, I guess, the podcast episode with Devon Werkheiser, or from the little tiny bit that I originally heard, he literally says, well, I didn't watch the doc yet, but now that I have watched the doc, like as if that matters whatsoever. Am I missing something? Okay. Okay, so I do want to give a shout out to everyone who's been sending super chats. I'm sorry, I'm trying to go through all of it. Happy birthday, solitary. Thank you so much, Binge Art. Hollywood Girl saw that. Where am I? I saw, okay, blah, blah, blah. Please watch the interview, Drake and Yordi Rosado. Okay, I will. And I see Nick here. Thank you so much. The documentary was a little sad and a bit shocking to me because the actors that were in the documentary made my childhood, including you. Now that I'm older, I completely understand all of this now. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you for being here. I do want to just give a shout out really quickly to this channel that's been climbing up this mountain for like literally, I don't know, almost a year now. We don't have any corporate sponsors, okay? This has been completely community built. And so every one of you that has supported this channel, thank you so, so much. And so you make it sustainable. This is why I'm able to honestly sit down every day, even just the little bit of support of liking this video and putting it into the algorithm helps so much, and also helps boost survivor-centric and survivor-led YouTube creators content. I don't even really like calling it that because this is like very recent that I got into this space, because originally I'm out in the streets and now I'm here. And so just to boost survivor-centric, survivor-led YouTubers is so important, because most of the time these stories get told by people that are not survivors, let alone people that are centering survivors, right? So thank you so much. I just want to pull up really quickly ways to support the channel: becoming a member, and also the Patreon. We have a protest coming up April, wait, is it 6? April 6th. We're going to the LAPD. We're protesting them for honestly just letting all of these survivor stories collect, I don't even know, dust, basically. And so we're going to be protesting the LAPD for so many different reasons that I won't go into today, but all the Patreon members really help support the mission and started doing interviews for that. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. And also there is the merch, and that just really helps spread awareness. Has a Power to Survivor sweater, which is my favorite sweater ever. We just need more positive affirmations out there so that survivors see that not only survivors support them, obviously, but that allies do too. So those are the ways to support. Otherwise, you know, we're doing this alone. We're doing this alone with no sponsors or anything. So thank you all so, so much. All right. Let's get into it. So let's digest NED's Declassified, Declassless podcast. You know, just as a reminder before we go into this, I think it's important for us to watch the clip that really circulated and went viral when it came to Devon and the cast and what he said. Because the reason why it's important to revisit is because sometimes these people want us to forget. And when I heard the beginning part of the podcast, I heard Devon say that he just watched the episode now. And he also just made a public apology before making a private one. That's beside the point, right? But he said, I just watched the documentary now. Now, leading up to the documentary, the episode where Drake Bell finally shares his story to the world, the media was going, it was everywhere what happened to Drake Bell, that Drake Bell is coming forward about his story, Brian Peck, the whole thing. Everyone knew, to the point where, well, what we're going to see right now, that after Devon makes a statement that he wants to claim is a joke, he follows up with talking about Drake Bell. So he was aware. And to me, it's the same thing as Rich and Beth when it comes to these topics. They always say, if I knew more, when they get pressure from the public. If I only knew more, if I only knew the details. Devon also knew enough. He knew enough not to say something that despicable and disturbing, honestly, especially during that time, since they were doing a TikTok live during all of the circulation media-wise about Quiet on Set. He knew enough. He knew enough to get onto TikTok during that time, right? He knew enough to capitalize on it. I'm gonna say it how it is. I'm being real vulnerable today. Because when we see Rich and Beth, for example, it really upsets me that people like to hide behind, and they get away with it too. These statements like, I didn't know, or I didn't know enough. You did know enough, and you did it anyways. And that's honestly the real apology that needs to happen. So let's first watch this clip, and then we'll go into the podcast episode.
Coming.
Daniel, I told you.
Daniel, we told you never to speak about that. Get back in your hole, Daniel, and give me your holes. Sorry, we shouldn't joke about this. We really shouldn't.
This is awful. Why are we doing this?
Because this is about us. Listen, our set was not like that. And no, it's fucking awful. The Drake Bell shit is that's crazy to hear. That is fucked, man. And that never came out, which is really wild. Really wild.
Until he was talking about it.
Boop. Boop.
Okay.
Oh, so y'all were in on it. Oh, God.
Damn.
Wow.
I'm not talking about this anymore.
No.
Not talking.
And then he continues to laugh there. Do you see that? So he's like, oh, no, we shouldn't be doing that. And then he goes right back into laughing and joking around. And boop, boop. I don't even know what the fuck that is with TikTok. Maybe you guys can explain to me. I'm so out of the loop. I don't even know what the hell that meant. But I'm guessing that it was something to do with TikTok. Oh, boop, a boop. After going and then calling it Drake Bell shit. I mean, the disrespect is out of control.
That boop moment was, I thought, like, I took that moment as she was like saying something that I don't think he thought.
No, it was a
she should
sticker
say.
on top, and they're like blooping the things that were like,
Oh.
like money or like something that was being donated was above them, and it was like bloop, and then it pops, like it like disappears or whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's just
I didn't even
disgusting.
see that. Okay.
I caught it. I definitely caught it, because you're like, why are you blooping after you just said something like that? And you also called it Drake Bell shit, which is super disturbing. Okay, so moving on, let's begin this. Let's begin this podcast episode. You all ready? Let's go.
Earlier this week, we were on a TikTok live. If you haven't seen the clip, if you haven't seen what's going on, we were on a TikTok live being asked to comment on the Quiet on Set documentary, which we hadn't seen. And yeah.
Look at how he starts it. Sorry, I had to pause it right away. He goes, which we haven't seen. So what? We all knew. You knew to the point where you literally called it Drake Bell shit. Nice one, by the way. You knew. So why does it matter if you watch the documentary or not? I don't get that. But you see how it's controlling the narrative of it instead of making an honest apology. An honest apology would not make this type of an excuse that he should say, regardless, even though we didn't see it, I should never have said that. But I don't see that here. I don't see that here. Let's continue.
Super joke came out that was referenced at Daniel and looked like I was talking about Drake, and it all overlaps. And
you made an SA statement that you're claiming is a joke during a live stream that is referencing Quiet on Set, and then when you say that statement, you follow it up with, oh yeah, that Drake Bell shit is crazy. I've heard that word, by the way, before, multiple times with you guys. Crazy. I mean, isn't that what he said? Or am I blanking on that? Maybe I'm actually hearing things that I'm not hearing. Could have sworn that's what I heard. You knew. So much so that you went live on TikTok during the quiet on set media circulation. You knew. And you said that. And in my opinion, why else would you have said that? Is that how you talk to people that are your co-hosts? You say things like that? Give me your holes? You say stuff like that? At random? Well, that's problem. That's a huge problem, actually. That's like a Dan Schneider problem, right? You don't talk to your co-host like that. It's not a joke at all. That's not a joke at all. But to make it two separate things, but then follow it up with Drake Bell, just very much upsets me. All right. Look at this freeze frame. He's like, get me out of this.
Up, I get it. We hadn't seen the doc, and everyone was
Wait,
asking us.
Did he say it again? Wait, didn't we just hear that like 2 seconds ago? We didn't see the doc. And now he's saying again, we didn't see the doc. Who told you to say it like that? Didn't see the doc. You didn't need to see the doc.
There for our opinions on it.
On the TikTok.
Yeah. And I get it. Now having seen the documentary, like, it's so disturbing. I get they were.
You know what's disturbing? CSA. Devon. You knew about the Drake Bell shit, didn't you? That is disturbing. But yet you found it okay during a TikTok live to laugh about it. I'm not even gonna say it's a joke anymore. You don't get that grace, honestly. To laugh about it. To poke fun of it, to be quite honest. So I don't like how this is beginning because it's not truly honest. He keeps saying very key words that are damage control, which is, I didn't see the doc. You didn't need to see the doc. What are you, rich now and Beth too? If I had all the details, you knew enough. Right?
Asking us.
And we had no clue of the magnitude of what they were discussing.
You don't need to know the magnitude. You don't need to know the magnitude. CSA is enough. SA is enough. You don't need to know every freaking detail. Sorry, that's kind of weird too. I actually don't want any of the details most of the time. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to know even. Just I support you. Like, okay, you know? They're like wanting to know the details. Kind of weird. And it's a loop here that's happening. I didn't know the details. I didn't know the details. All right.
We're also multitasking. I'm
right.
sitting there editing the sound. I thought.
I don't care if you were multitasking or not multitasking. That statement of you laughing at CSA or SA in general has nothing to do with multitasking. When people are multitasking, they don't just randomly say shit like that, by the way. That is not an excuse also.
It lost all of the footage.
Now we've watched it, and I get it. If I had just watched especially that third episode and then watched us joking like that,
You would be upset.
I would be like, are they sociopaths? Like actually, like,
Regardless of the third episode being released, regardless of that, you knew that Drake Bell was a victim of CSA. And you laughed about it. You made a reference to something. Wait. What is this on my screen?
We're gonna do a haven't seen the doc counter.
Oh, yeah, true. Haven't seen, but is it okay on my screen? Haven't seen the doc. To be honest with you, that really upsets me more because you're basically saying that you needed to see and hear all of the details, essentially, for you to not laugh at CSA survivors or survivors in general. By the way, this isn't even just about Drake Bell. It isn't even just about Drake Bell. It's about survivors everywhere. And you chose to laugh. And I want to know the chat right now. Wait, where's the chat? I want to see the chat. When he went live on TikTok, why do you think he went live on TikTok? TikTok. Why do you think he went live on TikTok? I'm very curious. I want to hear from the community to make sure that I am not. We need to move it over a little bit, Adam. Just a little bit. The H is cut off a little bit. But someone tell me, why do you think he was going live that night? Right? To ride a Nickelodeon trend. It's all for clout, to promote, to profit off the dock, deflection, to stay relevant, attention, wanted views. Look at this. Whoa! I mean, to be honest, though, isn't that the truth? I feel like it is, because why were you live on TikTok joking around? Because even at one point, wait, let's go to this next clip. Let's go to this next clip before we continue. Let's go to this next clip. Share my screen.
A guy named Scott Fellows who knew that we were children and wanted to create an environment.
Did Dan Schneider have any kids?
I don't think so.
There's the problem.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has a wife and kids.
Oh.
I'm done. I give up. Oh, it's not nice.
Well, you can tell by the way we choose our words. We got something to say. No time to break.
A guy named Scott
I'm
Fellows.
sorry, though. Do you hear Lindsay Shaw in the background? This is not a time. Not the time with the lame jokes, right? Not the time. And I find it very interesting, if maybe it was a Freudian slip of some kind, that after Devon says what he says, he then says to the camera, it's about us. Did you hear that too? Isn't that how he said it? It's about us. And you're like, it's not about you right now, actually. It's not about you at all. It's actually about the victims who are coming forward about something extremely traumatic. So I don't like it. I don't like it. Here we go.
Dan is married as well, right?
Dan is married. Yeah, they got that wrong. But no, Dan doesn't have any kids, though. So that's true. But yeah, Dan is married to, John Vaccaro's whatever.
Is something wrong with them?
Mm-hmm. So
Wait,
with
can we
that,
take
get
off
it
that
clear,
haven't seen the dogs
you
before?
guys were not speaking on that.
Just in case we make a clip. Wait, move it to the right here. Actually, I wanted to keep it up, but move it a little bit to the right. Like over to the right. So we can keep adding to it. Can we make it smaller? Okay.
Aren't talking about.
No, we hadn't watched.
Hadn't
and I
watched.
didn't know that.
Couldn't.
Wait, 5. Wait, we got to change it. 5. We're at 5. We're at 5, you guys. How many do you think is going to be in here? Here's 5.
Didn't know, wasn't sitting with the details at all. Like, I know what the joke sounds like, but I was talking to Daniel.
You were
in a way that
talking
we fucking do
to me while I was
Yeah.
working. People are like, Daniel, you're off camera. What was going on? I'm sitting there at the desk working on audio, super multitasking.
Yeah.
And that statement was directed to me in the extreme way that
We know it was directed to you. That's the problem, though, in the context of what was happening and what you were going live and talking about. How is it so hard for everyone to compute here? Right? Like, why is this so hard to compute? We got that you were talking to Daniel. And also, I don't like how you're talking to Daniel. I'm sorry. That, I get it. You might have your own, relationship and how you guys interact with one another, but I don't really like to see that with people that you're working with. It's absolutely inappropriate behavior and triggering for, like I say all the time, you don't even know who's a survivor around you, right? And that was just so inappropriate, even regardless of the Drake Bell thing. That was inappropriate and not okay. But I love that Devon's like, but I was doing it to him. It's like, that's still bad. And he's like, but I wasn't talking about Drake Bell, but where do you think you came up with that statement? Sadly, that's how gross that was. Let's continue.
We disparage each other.
Yeah.
My constituents were just completely upset, and they want it clear that we were not referring to that.
No, but we fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I get what it looks like.
Like,
yeah.
Look at this apology. Is this really an apology at the end of the day, Devon? I know what it looks like. It looks exactly like what the fuck it was, by the way. What it looks like, it was. You laughed at SA and then followed it up with a CSA survivor and called it Drake Bell shit. And then went bloop, bloop. The fuck? I don't like it.
Get it. It's overlapping each other in the
Horrible
worst
timing.
way. So
Horrible timing.
we can get into that more.
Oh, Daniel, horrible timing, horrible timing, horrible timing. Yeah, beyond horrible timing. It was, look,
everyone was asking for our take on Quiet on Set. And so I want us to do that now that we've watched it.
Yeah.
And so I also want to say,
now that we've watched it, well, I guess, does that continue? Is that like a 6? I kind of feel like we should just give it a 6 because, I mean, he literally just said, now that we've watched it, he's really trying to,
It counts. It counts.
It counts. It counts.
On every live stream,
it's even a luxury to have that to complain about when there are these really, really awful things that money cannot even bring back.
Yeah.
It's
I do just want to say really quickly, though, that, yes, I agree with Lindsay, by the way. That is a very true statement when it comes to child stars, is also how you're constantly reminded how lucky you are to even be there. And it's such an opportunity for you to even be there, right? And you're just willing to just, But also we have to remember that I think in this video, someone told me that Lindsay Shaw does apologize to Drake or about what they did there. And just to remind everyone here who's just watching for the first time or just coming to Eat Predators Daily for the first time, Lindsay Shaw not too long ago literally hearted a comment from some random person that basically called me psycho. And also on top of that, called me an irrelevant Nick star. And here she is now being like, child stars, we all blah, 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 blah. You literally hearted a comment that put Nickelodeon stars on a hierarchy, a caste system, so to speak. That was you. And you said thank you with like a prayer emoji, literally saying that I wasn't a relevant Nick star like Jeanette McCurdy. So, I'm just giving some context here because I still haven't received any type of apology from any of these people. And Lindsay specifically, I got told from Chrissy Carlson Romano that Lindsay was not willing to apologize to me. Okay. I digress. Let's continue.
Exactly.
That's where it really sucks because your self-worth is so tied into pleasing these adults, maintaining adult humor at such a young age. You're talking about these things you barely even understand, but you just want them to say, great job.
Yeah. But we experienced it still in a safe enough environment and it wasn't,
Devon, sorry. I saw a video of you literally talking, what was it, to Chelsea, that episode that was really upsetting. And the way that you even spoke about it then, it didn't feel like you actually necessarily fully cared then. I have to pull up the clip maybe after this. Miko, if you're watching, give me the timestamps for that because I want to pull that up when he's talking about like what the other Nickelodeon stars, went through. But you can see Devon reminds me of Charlie Day in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia right now. You know that bit where he's like all of the like you know, piece of papers are like on the wall and he's like smoking a cigarette. It kind of is giving me, he's just like backpedal, backpedal, backpedal. I don't still feel anything there. He keeps touching this, he keeps going like this, he keeps looking down. And I think it's because he hasn't taken full accountability yet for what he said. It's my personal opinion right now. We're gonna keep watching. Let's continue.
So let's go through kind of some of the big things in the episode. So the first episode starts kind of laying. We can kind of talk about episode 1 and 4 is like they lay the groundwork for some of the toxic environment on Dan Schneider shows, and there's kind of a lot in there. The female writers on the Amanda Show stuff really
That was messed up. They split a paycheck. Like, why would you choose to sing
From like, if you didn't like what Quiet was saying, like if you didn't know, but like it's just feels so on. And you know, you have to remember, like I told these people, no, I never really honestly, I don't think I met Daniel personally, but Devon I did. And Lindsay was my best friend, right, growing up. And, you know, Lindsay knew about my experiences with Dan Schneider. And like, honestly, like no one really gave a shit during the time. That's fine. You know, like whatever at that point. But she did know. And it would have been also a perfect opportunity for her to even actually say, like, I knew Alexa, you know, when we were teenagers, and she would tell me that there was a toxic work environment there. I remember telling her then, like, I had to leave the show. And that was like the rumor that was going around. And so like Lindsay knows all about this. And this is making me feel, oh, Ashley gifted 5 membership. That's so sweet, Ashley. That's so sweet. That's really, really sweet. Thank you so much, Ashley, for supporting and sharing and giving. Thank you so much. So it's like, you know, it's a little bit weird. And also thank you to all of the subscribers. I think we're like almost at 70 or whatever. Wyatt gave me this congrats balloon. That's so sweet. What? Did they claim it? Wait, are we live though? No way. But are we live? Wait, is the video gone? I don't know. I don't know if anyone can hear me. The chat's going so fast, like I can't honestly hear what anyone's saying. But they're talking about quiet on set, which is like, this is our trauma, and then I can't like. Wait, should we call Miko? Like, is the video, like, what is it looking on your phone? Like, is the video uploaded? Is it? It's saying they can't see anything. So we lost the whole video. I mean, what, did you see your phone? Here. We're back. Wait, what happened? See, this is why, you know, by the way, I'm the chat's going so fast. We need to put on slow mode, I think, so I can see everyone, because you guys are so wonderful here. I can't even hear what you guys are, I can't even read what you guys are saying. So, you know, what was I going to say? This is why it would have been nice if, I mean, a long time ago that I could have been like invited on and we could have a conversation about things. Can everyone see me? Everyone can see me? Okay, so I guess I got claimed. Did it get striked? Okay. We'll find out later. So essentially something happened. I don't know if someone's claiming me, if it's NEDS, if it's YouTube, if it's whatever. And that's why when people are like, just let it play, you know, I can't let it play. I can't just like let it play. I have to stop kind of incrementally so that for copyright's sake, you know, I'm able to comment. And because I'm talking about something and commenting on it, I should be able to play, you know, clips at a time, of course, but not, it's like hard to pause and you guys get it. You guys get it. It's a copyright thing. So this has never happened before though. And we've played other things. We're really watching it today.
Yeah, we're watching this one pretty intensely and letting it play for like a good minute, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, I kind of want to see, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's watch for a second and I'll fast forward through it. Oh, I can't hear shit. Oh, okay. Okay, let's see.
Go to the worst
And be
place
accusatory.
that seems unfair.
Okay.
There, I know it has its own
Yeah.
issues, but it's disgusting, man.
Yeah. Drake's girlfriend's mom is
Oh,
one of
she
those
stood
people
up,
in this
yeah.
story where I go,
He's calling all the
thank
time.
she saw it. He said she
This
saw
is not
within
natural.
6 seconds
Yeah.
as soon as she saw him interact with Brian Peck. Like,
Has he apologized to Drake in this video, by the way? Is anyone, like, has he I haven't heard an apology yet. He's in this, Devon. I feel you, man, but you gotta own up to what you did there. You're still not fully owning up because you're like watching yourself and like seeing how the world responded to what you're like sometimes. And it was probably like, "Wah." It was probably wild. Oh, Daniel starts to,
the children, that's not her kid.
oh, sorry. There were some people that like makes me a little bit uncomfortable just because there were the dynamic is what also made things very difficult for so many different adults is, see, they're talking about they're so zoomed into like the actual event. They're not really speaking about the entirety of what was taking place and the layers to it all. But when I hear him say, Devon looks guilty, which is actually honestly good to see. So I can see I just don't know what he's guilty about. Is he guilty that he said what he said and how it impacted others? Or is he guilty because how it, like, it's like shame where he doesn't like being criticized? You know what I mean? Like, I can't really tell where he lands when it comes to this because of just how bad that TikTok was and then how he's acting. I'm feeling something just peculiar. There's something peculiar about it. Frantic.
No.
That's a kid.
Yeah. To
That's
recognize
what I
it.
mean about being the village, man. We
Yeah.
are all responsible for the babies, and like that's how we raise the world, raise the vibe, raise everything. Like
The
This
investigation, the
from
court case,
someone
all of
who literally hearted that a survivor was a psycho and an irrelevant Nick star. I'm sorry, Lindsay. The village raises the babies. Like, where have you been raising anyone's babies? I have 2 children. Like, hearing someone say that is almost insulting. You know how hard it is to raise babies? Talking about the village. Yeah, like talking about the village. Where are you at, Lindsay? You haven't even apologized for your wrongs. And Chrissy Carlson Romano, which is, by the way, she's nowhere to be found because she fucking deleted my trauma. Chrissy, you deleted my trauma. I sat there for over 2.5 hours with you, told you my trauma. And when I talked to you privately first, asking you, telling you that the survivors of this individual were reaching out to you and you were leaving them on red, the actual survivors you were leaving on red. Okay, so apparently at the end of the podcast, Lindsay Shaw is the only one. What timestamp is it? Nico, can you give the timestamp? I guess Lindsay Shaw is the only person who apologizes in the podcast, and that's great. I'm glad that Lindsay Shaw is the one who is apologizing in this podcast. But again, Lindsay Shaw never even apologized to me about what she said, you know, and it seems like some people just pick and choose, you know, when to apologize about things because of the pressure or about what people are saying about you. And I feel like there was such an immense amount of pressure put onto the NEDS Declassified podcasts and casts that they started acting a specific way. But I wonder if this episode would have aired, if before, if basically the backlash didn't happen, if people weren't weighing in on how they were acting in the live TikTok where they were like, bloop, bloop. I can't get over that. That showed me true colors, in my opinion. I don't even, how can anyone ever be like that? That was just run the video. I can't, can I? I can't. They're going to keep striking me, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, if it, like, you can maybe watch it on Friday before you.
Oh, right. You know what we can do? On Friday, we can finish the video for members only. Like when we're watching Open Secret, we can just start it with the last like 15 minutes of the podcast so that this live doesn't get shut down. So, we can watch that when we're doing members only. I feel like we've heard like a lot of it. It seems like they really want to see change, which is good to see. And I think that we need all hands on deck when it comes to creating change and advocating for future children when it comes to the entertainment industry. And so I want everyone to care, including them. And I want it to be genuine. And at the same time, I want them to take accountability genuinely for their actions. I want to see them literally show up in the ways that matter. And I want to hear them not make any excuses. And there's things I want to see first, but regardless, I am grateful. Again, survivors are always constantly balancing this where we're hurt and we're grateful at the same time for when someone puts, even shows a little pinch of care towards us, right? I am grateful that they do care about what happened to all of the victims that came forward on Quiet on Set. I am very grateful for that. And at the same time, I really do hope that they take accountability. Oh, yeah, I will. So let me look at some of the super chats here so that hopefully I don't, miss any of those. God, what a stream. What a stream. Thank you for blowing open this wide open secret. As someone who has experienced trauma as a child, the network needs to be held accountable. Mike Schoenwolf, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Is there a Discord, or we can make a Discord, talk about all this? It would be cool to continue dialogue about all of this. Yeah, Ruby Moon, I'm going to call you Moon. I had to shut down the Discord because of my stalker who was infiltrating the Discord, and also others that were infiltrating the Discord with not good intentions, and it became very, very hard to manage. So as of right now, we don't have a Discord, and I hope you understand, but it just wasn't safe for survivors whatsoever at the end of the day. I just couldn't allow, that to just continue in any way. Mr. Blanks, 44 minutes and no apology. Truly sad, right? Yeah, 44 minutes and no apology. Welcome to the Munchies. Welcome.